here we are. For those people that are watching later, it's going to be a bit boring. Welcome anyway. For those people that are watching live, much cooler because it's much more fun live. So, what are we going to do? I'm really not feeling it tonight. Obviously, I got a mess. I got all kinds of parts here. All kinds of stuff to do. Let me bring you up here. That way I can see who's here. Dan, I hear you have a horde of 394 parts. Did you get them yet? Maybe. I'm going to continue to work on this here 350. Actually, I've got that spring, but I want to know. Oh, you gotta grab them in person. Okay. I wonder if I have that spring elsewhere here. The anterior, the cylinder head AV spring always seems to be some. Oh, there's an oil opinion. I can use that. Yeah, the cylinder head AV spring always seems to be kind of at a loss. I don't know what the deal is, but they seem to be hard to find those. But they're not cheap. They're like $10 a shot. Oh, I did get lucky. Look at that. Okay, it's here. I don't have to open the brand new one. And I can use that clutch. Okay. All kinds of goodies. We can just start throwing stuff together here, basically. Okay. I want to work on the 350 carburetor. I got the HDA carb here. Why does it only show one person here? Dan, is it just you? Yeah, Ed Bartlett's here. Ed's got to count for something. 2 people. Okay. Well, usually there's like all kinds of other people show up, so whatever. What I want to do, I want to get some stuff kind of out of the way. That's kind of what I'm into right now here. I've got all these parts that are building up here, and it'd be good to start getting some stuff out of the way. So, things like the AV mount here that goes on the cylinder head. Let's put a little blue Loctite on there. Yeah, Dan, I'm always up for 394 parts. I've got a lot right now, and right now I'm just trying to sell the 394s that I do have, and I have certainly enough parts to finish the basically the saw that's the prototype saw for my intake horns. So it's not like I really need anything else. It's just always nice to have another stash if there can be another stash. You know what I mean? Just going to let you know, Dan, they're pricey to build. I've got 2 already built up. I don't know why I'm installing this, but I am. Well, now that's interesting. That's not a 350 handle. That might be a 359 handle because it's too wide. Whoops. That's about how the day's going, really. Bob's here. So, Bob, you want the update on the Volvo? All right, I guess I'm not installing that. At least not right now. So I did not have the best day. Just I got the fuel pump out of the Volvo, no problem, ready to go. Everything's good. I get the fuel pump out of the box and start looking at it, and wow. Compare it to the old one. Well, that's gone. There goes $10. Hey, my day. Anyway, start comparing it. As it turns out, the fuel pump that's in the box, I'm like, it's supposed to be for this model car. So I call up, it was Spectra Premium is the brand, and it's like $380 for the stupid pump from Rock Auto. And it says specifically that it's for the S60R. So I'm like, okay, what's the deal? Well, call Spectra Premium, and they're like, oh, yeah, you're the second guy today to call about that. I'm like, what? So as it turns out, I was the second guy today to point out the fact that the wrong pump was in the box. Somebody at the factory literally put the wrong pump in the box. The box is labeled correctly. The wrong pump for what I need, the wrong pump is in the box from the factory. How's that for having an awesome day? Let's do this. Here's the oil pump. Oil pump worm goes on. Now, this is one of those tricky things about the 350 is that if you want to upgrade you can upgrade here. You can upgrade to rim drive from Spur, but the rim drive does not actually fully mate with the worm. And the reason is because this spline is smaller than that spline, but it still fits and it still works. How's that for silly? I don't know why, but it still fits. It still works. Something on there. And you just take this and write it down. Yeah, as long as it's still... Something feels funny about that. Hey, Tim. Why does it bind? Why are you binding, damn it? Shouldn't bind. It's like it's binding with something. Why? I had the pump out. It wasn't binding at all. Shouldn't be binding. All right, let's pull the pump out. Had the pump out already. By the way, welcome Ed. Welcome everybody. Welcome Tim. Anybody here I didn't say hi to? Pump works smooth. Bit drinking again. Seems to be smooth now. Don't know why. Yeah, ironic. Yeah, I'm still on this 350. Okay. Maybe the oil pump was a little bit loose. That would have done it. There. That's how it should be. Oh. Yes, savoring the repairs. That's what I'm doing. Well, admittedly, the longer it takes me to fix something, the more I get to hang out with you guys. So you can tell me if you're disappointed by that or not. I'm using the forklift toothbrush. 10 people here, so we'll give an update on James. Adirondacks, you might not have been here. James Faust is in ICU in Indianapolis. He's not had a good go of it, but supposedly today he had a much better day. He had a bad night last night, but he's had a much better day, and I guess he's actually like responding verbally or something like that. So that comes directly from his wife, uh, Amy. So we're all hoping that he literally pulls through. while we're fiddling around with stuff, let's put the gas tank on here, I think. Pretty sure this is supposed to be more or less vertical. This is actually a fairly new line, so I'm not going to worry about changing the line, but I will change the fuel filter. No, he didn't have a stroke. He's just had complications from the ankle surgery, if you can believe that. He ended up having a pulmonary embolism. So initially, that was the initial problem there, and he's since had even more complications even from that. So he's just not had a lot of good days, you know. Yeah, any prayers you can send his way will definitely be appreciated. Just getting a fuel filter here. Well, I was definitely enjoying the weather today. I was outside at least a little bit, but I was not enjoying life because of that darn fuel. Well, an embolism can be a bunch of different stuff. Could be a clot. Could be a what typically happens to people that have hip fractures is they end up with fat embolisms. After you bust a hip, you can end up with when the bone marrow basically is exposed, and there's quite a bit of fat in there. So what happens is you get a fat emboli in your artery, and that can be trouble. So okay, I was just making sure this tank was ready to rock, and I think it is. Rid at least some of the junk by using it up. Nice thing about these tanks is they're a little easier to use than the other ones. Like 372s, for instance, are a pain. This goes right on. I had something useful here. I got boxes everywhere, and I have to figure out which one's good stuff and which one isn't. I brought in some boxes from outside. Hang on. I'll be right back. Here we go. One other thing that, and this. We got the two things here that are important for the tank. So I've got a chain catcher, and it comes with a screw. Now, Husky actually has a chain catcher built into the plastic case here, but I think that's kind of silly. You know, just silly that they do that, because once it's worn off, then the case is shot, you know, sort of. You get the idea. And there's one other thing I'm forgetting before I put this down. It's this large tank vent puck. Yeah, it's starting to look like a saw. James is better today. He's had a better day than he had a bad night. They were not convinced they were going to save him last night, apparently. So it's real serious, apparently, this stuff. So I'm just putting this puck in here, tank vent, and then what I do, take my, so I just tap in the puck there. You can see it in there. And then I take in with my welder here, well, soldering iron, I make a couple of nubs so that it has a hard time coming out, you know. Just push it in a couple of spots around on the tank plastic. Just make it a little harder for it to pop out randomly, you know. The puck was missing. The puck was missing. It wasn't a matter of leaky, it was a matter of missing. And we need the AV mounts here. These are not AV mounts. These can go like here, there. There's another one to go there. So yes, this does get to be a bit of a long, drawn-out project. On the underside, short one. I don't need that on anymore. Will this? One of those forgotten things. I will need that. Put that down there. Oh, we're getting there, guys. We are. Just a matter of finding all these silly parts, which I'm pretty darn convinced I have. Aha. There's one. It's got a smooth end to it. Then I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of those. Yeah, here's 2. Good. And then the rubber mount that goes on there. And also another item I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of. Yeah. Or at least enough of. So the rubber part goes basically here in the tank, and then you just bring this up and in. Screw this on down. No primer bulb on this one. Well, I'm not going to say Scott's wrong. I'm sure he's got a point, and he has the experience behind what he says. There's no question about that. And, you know, compared to me, he's got a lot more experience. You know? This rubber goes under here. Basically just gets smushed under there. This is actually, I mean, this is really easy to work on. There's nothing tricky about this, you know. I need a AV bolt for here. Another short one. Short one for the handle. Here's a long one for here. I took from him, if you want to use them in your own saw, good for you, but he's going to put his name behind it. Yeah, yeah, you know, certainly. He makes a fine point. If you're going to offer a warranty with the saw, you know, he can't afford to be shipping stuff across the country back and forth and whatnot. He wants it to be right. And I think if you consider yourself a pro, then the pro porters are held to a much higher standard. They just are, you know, and they should be. That makes sense, right? I'm just putting parts on here that I'm pretty confident I can put on. Where did my rope go? I don't know. Great. Right here. Right in front of me. How many Frankenstein 350s have you done? Well, all of them. I don't know. I've done a bunch. Those that are wondering where my torque wrench is, I think it's upstairs. Great. I know, not helpful. But I can use this one. So 13 foot-pounds. Somewhere around there. Close enough. Good. That should be in there. Should be here. I think it's the first time I've used my 1/4 inch torque wrench. Okay. Back that off. Bring that out. And speaking of Scott, I've got an HDA 199 carburetor here, and he did a good video on how to update the carburetor. So, yeah, he's got a pretty good video on that. So if anybody wants to check that out, that's probably the definitive video on that. Well, I've got it here. Might as well do the ignition coil. I guess. I don't know. This is a little dirty. I'm going to go wash that. I'm kind of hoping it works. I don't know. Make it like new. Just like that. I was surprised of how many of you all think that an aftermarket cylinder needs work before being used. I've seen a lot of info on defects and casting. Surprised all the opinions on the. Well, remember, Bob, they are moving targets. So some you get, they might be fine, but they also might visually be fine. They might need to be trued up at the base. All kinds of different stuff happens with aftermarket cylinder heads. You know, and to be honest, OEM heads are not without defect, but the aftermarket heads are just so all over the map. It just tends to be really hard to figure what's going on sometimes. So I've definitely come to the conclusion that to avoid the ring hookers and everything else, I think all aftermarket heads need to be ported before use. Not down hard, just down. Down and down. Back it off. Card out. And you're gapped. Here's your kill wire. That's on. That's good. Nothing really else needed here. One thing I don't have a starter cover for this. Need to get one. Coil is stock 350. Yeah, it's the Husky black coil, the unlimited coil. Nice if you can tuck these under here, I think. Through the hole here. Perfect. Now you just need the cover to go on, and you're good. That's busted. I'm going to throw that out. Bob, it depends on the part, you know? It just depends on the part. I'm really not convinced that, people have good luck with aftermarket ignition coils, at least not on the Huskies. A lot of guys, certainly getting these steel 660 kits, seem to be doing all right with the coils, I think. I know I do. But the Husky 372s, I think that those, and these, which are effectively the same thing, you really need to have the OEM coils, which adds significant cost to a project, why not throw the handle on? The black and blue coil. The black coil is unlimited, so there's no limitation. There's no rev limitation. The blue coils are limited to specific RPM levels. It depends on what coil you get. So some are 13,000 RPM limited, some are 13.6, and some are 14.1. Probably a good idea to use the 13,000 limited with the Husky X-Torx, the 372 X-Torx, because they really don't like to over rev. Don't run, but whatever. Okay, I don't have that. I need a top handle. Have the muffler, which has to be modified. I think really the next thing to do, I need to get a top handle, and I need to get a starter cover. And once I have those, I think those will be the final things here for the saw. Now what I can do, of course, is I can rob them off of my other saws. That's not a big deal. Just to get this thing running. But really the next thing to do, as far as what parts I've got left here is the carburetor, and I think just gonna put this on here to avoid debris getting in there. So I need to kit the carburetor, which I was totally going to do this go around, but I'm tuckered, so we may have to hit this tomorrow. Somebody brought me a saw, asked me to do repair, wouldn't use any aftermarket just because I'm... Well, Bob, what you can do, you quote the guy reasonable. If there's going to be all OEM parts used, then that quote has to account for that, And if there's going to be aftermarket parts used, you got to let the guy know. Simple. So, this right here needs to be ground down to allow a wrench on here to actually put that the decomp in. So I've never figured out what this bump does. I don't. It might be a mold, just something that they had to put in the mold for the injection molding. I don't know. I've never. Hey, Leonard. I've never known or figured out what that bump does. So I wonder, can I nip it? I can nip it. Rather than grinding, I can just nip the darn thing off. Oh, that's awesome. Perfect. All right, that works. Okay. Decomp is in. Next thing to do is to kit the carburetor, which I was gonna do tonight, but I'm tired. So let's see if we can get the carburetor out and at least get that ready to go for tomorrow when I come back and hopefully have a little bit of ambition. All right, here's the HDA carburetor. I watch later busy now. Okay, take care, Leonard. Yeah, well, Bob, there's a lot of in-depth steps in order to fit anything. If you're doing any of these modifications, you change one little thing. There's other stuff that's going to need to get changed. I don't even know if I have the kit. Who knows? I forget if it's the K10 kit or not. It might be. Got all kind of parts in here, so. HDA 199A. corrosion in there. Bunch of stuff to do. Yeah, see, this has the blue diaphragm in here, and apparently that's not good. So, hey, Roadrunner, Ice Road. He never sees your decup, but JB Weld at it won't say it keeps falling out. Sorry, buddy. Well, now I want to see if the kit's right, you know? If I got to order a different kit. I don't have to put the amazing carburetor on here. I can just put the regular carburetor on, but I have a brand new regular old 350 carburetor. That way I won't have to fiddle with this. Sometimes these diaphragms are upside down. Yep, this one's upside down. So that one won't fit. I think this one's... The K10 kit looks like it's not good either. So then what kit would be? I don't know. Lovely. So then I might not have it. By the way, the diaphragm does work upside down, in case anybody's wondering. But all right, so I need a kit for an HDA 199. It's a very clean screen. I don't know why I don't have that kit, but I guess I'll get one. A bunch of things to get. What else? Well, Bob, you can give people the options, but you really have to know what you're doing. You know, you can give people the options of doing aftermarket. By the way, you know, your parts cost on this, if you do, you know, all OEM is going to be $400, you know, or whatever, and see what they say. And if they say no, that's too much, you say, okay, if I do an aftermarket head, I'll save you $100 or whatever. Okay, but then there's, you know, no warranty on it or whatever, and see what they say. If they agree to it, those are the terms they agree to, you know? Why a green board needs to be oversized. Yeah, there's a list of stuff that needs to be ordered here. Oh well. It's these darn blue diaphragms. At least according to Tree Monkey, you got to get rid of these blue things and put in the tan ones. But yeah, that'll fit. I bet this will fit too. Yep, that'll fit. The only thing that doesn't fit are these diaphragms. They're upside down. Maybe if I can, I'll just get the diaphragms. I don't know. I might have them sitting around somewhere too, but maybe in my 372 stuff. I'll look. I'll look. So I think I'll call it a night. Because I'm tired. And okay, so close out the night. I still have two 394s for sale. My Volvo, I went to put in the fuel pump today, and that didn't go well because somebody at the factory put the wrong pump in the box. What was on the outside of the box was not what was inside the box. Kind of a problem. Um, so that wrecked basically my whole day. And then what? Yeah, I'll probably be live tomorrow, Brandon. We can get at least the exhaust done. I'll modify the exhaust and get that on there. Get some stuff ordered up, and I'll look a little harder tomorrow afternoon and see if I have a proper diaphragm somewhere. It's possible. It's just a matter of where. So the update on James for the evening was that he is doing better today. Hopefully, he's monitoring the stream and he's feeling better. But if he's not, I don't know with that guy. So everybody send James prayers. Poor James Faust is in a rough spot. He's in a ICU in Indianapolis. So I'm really happy that they got him out of the hospital that he was in and into a different hospital. I think that'll really change things for him. So yeah. So that's about it here, and I will basically talk to you guys later and say thank you so much, everybody, for joining and making this fun. So we'll be back on tomorrow and kind of take it from there. Okay. Have a good night, guys.